if I can carry on with my feedback, the title does not allow for, you can't see the guest house, but it is obviously you're looking out the guest house and the mountain at the background with the rails in front, the fence in front is lovely. And as you go right in the front and slowly but surely it goes into a dark environment. It's actually a very, very good photograph, and the focus is unbelievable. It's well done.
Thank you, Trevor. 3 van Pink.
Wil jy iets sê oor die foto? Jy kry nou al die blomfoto's vanaand.
Ja, dis vir my 'n baie mooi foto. Lyk of binnenshuis geneem is, so 'n bietjie meer beheer oor wat jy daar wil doen. Die komposisie is vir my baie mooi. Die groen gedeeltes lyk vir my 'n bietjie meer uit fokus, maar dis dalk met opset gedoen om die pink blomme uit te bring. En hulle is baie mooi. Hulle lyk nie vir my super skerp op my skerm nie, maar die fout kan nie by my wees. Is so vir die algemeen baie mooi foto.
Dankie Gert. Nee, dit jy's reg. Is my selfoonfoto, 'n selfoon of selfs 'n kamera sukkel om daai pink en rooi en pers mooi te kry.
Kan ek 'n vraagie vra?
Ja.
Het jy is dit ingekrop?
So effens ja.
Want die groen onder op die blare lyk vir my 'n bietjie ja, die detail is eenvoudig nie daar. Dit is duidelik, dis 'n selfoon. Ja. Net jy het net opgelet.
Ja.
Maar ek hoop die water en die blomme maak daarvoor weg en jy het met bedagte raad te werk gegaan en die agtergrond met die so 'n bietjie vignet wat so wegloop, is mooi gedoen.
Dankie Michael. Sparkler en glow.
Michael, do you want to say something about the photo?
Nou het ons jou 'n vriendelike gloeilamp, nie die kwaai gloeilamp nie. Ek hou van die idee dat daar 'n bietjie beweging in die prentjie is. Dit maak dit lewendig, al is dit 'n stil lewe met die wat noem jy dit? Die kersies agter. Vonke kersies of wat. Dat die vonke so wegspat en nog deur die lampie skyn. Ja, die gloeilampie werk glad nie, so die lig word voorsien deur dit wat agter is en dan spring dit daar so uit. Is 'n oulike idee en is definitief 'n kyker. Ja, mooi uitgedink. Very well thought out, Trevor.
En die volgende foto is die titel is geel.
Ek is Salome. Salome, as jy vir ons net kan iets sê oor die foto, as jy daar is.
Jy het gemute, Salome.
Okay, kom ons probeer weer. Is 'n baie mooi poging. Die kleur is baie mooi, is baie helder. Die blaartjies is vir my nogal redelik skerp vir 'n selfoon. En oor die algemeen dink ek die foto se naam is geel. en geel het deurgekom. Die agter is dalk net, die agtergrond is dalk so klein bietjie sterend, maar overall dink ek is 'n baie mooi poging. Baie dankie.
Dankie Salome. One night stand.
Is dit ek wat hierdie geel, hier's 'n geel streep op my skerm, is dit ek wat hom beteken?
Jy het hom seker self geteken, die kleur is met, ja.
Hy's op my skerm ook.
Is op my skerm ook. Tina, kyk net of jy hom kan afvat.
Die geel streep het al met die vorige foto bygekom.
Ja.
Ja.
Ja, dan is hy nou weg.
Hoe raak ek ontslaaf van daai ding?
Die persoon wat hom geteken het, moet hom delete. Ek probeer nou, maar is nie my streep nie, so
Gaan kyk of dit ek is.
Delete it.
Of ek,
Dis
daar's bo aan die mens, daar's hy.
daar is hy weg, hy's weg.
okay.
Ek kan staan aangaan. Oor daar
Waar
bo
is
is hy eraser. Okay, nou weet ons ook iets.
One night stand. Met julle
Daar het nog niks opgekom nie.
Ja, ek sien hom.
Nog nie.
Ja, ek het hom verloor, hoor.
daar kom hy.
Okay, ons soek die
Daar is hy.
dag.
Ja,
Kom
ek
hy,
kan sien,
kom
ek
hy
kan
nou.
hom sien, ek kan hom sien.
Ons sommer vir die praatwerk hier doen. Dis 'n verskriklike mooi foto met die jy het obviously selection gedoen en die agtergrond swart gemaak. En toe het jy hom nou geconvert na wit en swart toe, wat vreeslik goed werk. Ek dink is 'n baie oulike idee en jou selection is verskriklik skerp gedoen. Jy het daar baie goeie werk hiervan gedoen. Nee, dis baie mooi.
Ja, ek het, okay.
Ek sien daar's een persoon wat nie gestem het nie. Maar anyway.
Sorry, dit was ek gewees. Ekskuus julle.
Moet ek hom weer stuur?
Asseblief.
Nog niks kom nie.
Kaart is nie by my.
Nee.
Michael, het hy nie by jou uitgekom nie?
Ja.
Die Paulwoud.
Die eerste keer ja, maar nie die tweede keer nie.
Kyk of hy nie daar iewers te weggesteek is nie.
Wag 'n bietjie. Minimize op die ander skerm. Nee. Je kan maar op hand inzet, 13.
Ja, so 13 van niet.
Okay.
Nee.
Lagos Hotel Swimming Pool.
Die klanklas weet gaat niet.
Ja, dankie.
Michael,
Stem.
Michael, kom maar uit by jou asseblief.
Ik zie hem nou, ja, ik stem.
Okay, alright.
Wat is die foto se naam?
Lagos Hotel Swimming Pool. Lagos is 'n dorpie.
O, okay. Wel natuurlik Ja, ek hou van van die liggies weer eens, ek wil daai tegniek nog reg kry, wat so sterretjies uitstuur. Ek sien nie, daar's nie regtig maar 'n fokuspunt in die foto om die waarheid te sê nie. En omdat dit in die nag geneem het, is al maar baie noise. Ja, my groot probleem is daar's die twee inleidingslyne is daar, maar omtrent die enigste ding wat my aandag trek is die handvatsels van die swembad, of wat ook al dit is, of dit 'n tap is, ek weet nie wat se ding is daar nie. Ja.
Dankie. Hier is die laaste van die ope. Spider for dinner.
Karen,
Ek dink dit is 'n baie mooi foto hierdie. Regtig 'n mooi foto. Dis goed raak gesien in hierdie lang bene van hom. Dis regtig moeilik om hierdie dun bene af te neem sonder dat hulle uit fokus uitraak met 'n selfoon. En die lyfie in die agterkant wat nog in fokus is ook, en dan daai toegespinde bene daarvoor. Die kleure is mooi in fokus. Daar's nee, dis regtig 'n mooi foto hierdie.
Dit lyk my hy eet 'n gogga, want hierdie gogga wat hy so toespin.
Wow.
Ja.
Dit is 'n bietjie van
Dit
storie op.
Die
Ja, dis
titel
regtig
sê,
'n goeie foto hierdie.
die titel sê Spider for dinner.
O, so een spreek op wat hy aan die afval. Ja.
Ja,
Daar is hy. Daar is Michael. Okay, ons gaan sommer dadelik na die tema toe. Tema was hande. En hierdie foto se naam is Hande.
Steven, sorry, can you do it for us?
Sure, firstly, the nails of the model is unbelievable. It's very nice, clean and well trimmed. The texture of the hands are fantastic. And what is nice about this photograph is that the hands are really a highlight, meaning that your eyes fall directly onto the eyes. And there's no reflection of light coming off, meaning there's no blown out areas. It's really a phenomenal photograph. Well done, Peter.
Thanks, Trevor. Slapende skoonheid.
Gert,
Stem net gou. Ja, is vir my 'n pragtige storie. Hy's tegnies baie goed hanteer en hy vertel vir my 'n wonderlike storie. Dis maak my sommer weer lief vir die jonger geslag. Baie mooi foto, dankie.
Dit is 'n 12 vir Karen. Lyk my ons het klomp 12 vanaand.
ja.
Naald en garing.
Nick,
Net gestem. Sy. Ja, daai naald en daai garing is net mooi op die regte plek. Mens gaan direk so toe om te kyk wat doen die hande. En dis effens meer belig as die res van die hande daarom. En juist daai area is baie skerp, waar die res van die area bietjie depth verloor het. is daai area baie skerp. Die kers hier voor is ook mooi skerp. Kompetisies natuurlik sê die vlam van die kers is uitgeblaas. Maar dis 'n baie oulike foto.
Dankie Nick.
Dit is selfportret hoor. Sien nou dit self geneem. By die timer gestel.
O,
Sure.
Op die selfoon.
Ja.
Op die selfoon, ja.
Dis
Okay,
interessant.
patiently waiting.
Michael?
Ja, die object of jou voorwerp is mooi geplaas, dit voldoen aan die tema, dit wys hande. Ongelukkig wat dit vir my afbring is die diepte van veld is baie nou. So wat selfone gewoonweg eintlik nie gee nie. So ek sal meer fokus verwag het op die hande wat so mooi gevou is. Die stof aan die kante blaas so effens wat daar die spikkels wat daar rond lê. Maar dis hy is sterk uit tot die beeld. Ek het hom 'n bietjie afgebring omdat daar 'n probleem met die fokus is. Maar ons moet jy uitgedink. Goeie poging.
Dankie Michael. Alone now.
Salome?
Okay, so baie mooi idee van die foto. Die enigste probleempie wat vir my is, my oog spring tussen die hand en die gesig. Want jy weet nie regtig wat se een is jou fokuspunt op nie, maar dit was baie mooi raak gesien en 'n baie mooi uitbeelding. Die kleure is vir my baie mooi, dit is baie skerp en dit vir my dis 'n baie mooi foto. Dankie.
Dankie Salome. Namaste.
Skus het julle my naam gevra?
Dis reg.
Ek moet sê Miriam te beoordeel is nogal vir my 'n uitdaging. Die blommetjie in die hande is baie mooi skerp, die agtergrond bietjie minder. Die blomme sou baie mooi fokuspunt daar's met 'n lyn wat boontoe gaan. Maar dit lei vir my nie, die hande lei nie eintlik vir na iets nie. So dis vir my 'n baie mooi foto, maar soos ek sê, ek vind dit moeilik om hom te beoordeel as uit min ervaring met sulke foto's.
Gert, dis nie 'n probleem nie. As jy voel dis nie vir jou nie, vra iemand anders te. Dis nie 'n probleem nie.
As enige iemand anders is welkom om weer te beoordeel as julle wil.
Kan net bylas dat kan ek iets bylas?
Ja, daar's my.
Nee, op hierdie foto is maar net dat ek weet nie of dit as mense hom hier so 'n bietjie nouer gesny het die onder die hande of vir jou meer laat fokus het op die blommie. Maar dis my opinie.
Okay,
Dankie.
Volgende titel is Mooi Hande.
Ek sal hom vat. Die pink is, klere smelt mooi in mekaar in. Met die kleur van die velle is ook baie mooi. Dit is eintlik heel anderste foto, maar as die selfoonfoto, dis baie goed vir 'n selfoonfoto. Daar's nie iets wat ek sal verander nie. Sorry, ek wil net vir jou sê, die rampies, ek moet weer gesels oor die rampies, dit moet nie so dik wees nie, maar verder is dit my baie mooi foto.
Okay.
Well done.
Dankie.
Net 'n wasaris.
Kan ek net bylas?
Ja.
Dis nogal eintlik amazing dat hierdie selfone sulke so close-up kan neem. As jy byvoorbeeld kyk na daai snytjie op die vinger se lid, dat jy so diep in kan sien, dat jy kan amper sien wat is onder daai persoon se naels. As jy hier onder die foto kyk, die selfone is eintlik regtig amazing kameras. Ons moenie die selfone onderskat nie. Ek dink mens kan dit in forensiese sake gebruik. Ja, is maar net my bietjie.
Nee, is reg. Nee, jy is heeltemal reg. Kyk daai eerste foto van Pieter van die Viking, Vic die Viking.
Ja.
Okay, is die laaste een missing support?
Ja, interessant.
Titel is missing support.
Wie gaan beoordeel vir ons? Salome? Dis die laaste foto.
Okay, dankie. Vir my baie interessante foto. Die naam wat deurkom, die kleur is baie goed gehanteer, die beligting is baie goed. Die diepte van veld is baie goed, so tegnies baie goeie foto. En ja, ek dink dit is nogal baie interessant. Dankie.
Dankie Salome. Dit was in die laaste foto wat ingeskryf was. Ek gaan gou die net 'n bietjie uitfilter dat ons die beste foto vir die oop kies.
Hallo almal, ek is nou hierso.
Hallo Judy.
Skus ek is so laat.
Hi Judy, jy het nou al die aksie gemis.
Ek weet.
Jy is betyds vir die klasse, vir die les.
Dankie.
Michael,
Yes.
waar het jy daai hand ding gekry wat jy in hierdie laaste foto gebruik het?
My seun het een, hy het so bietjie geskilder in jonger dae en toe graaf ek dit uit die kassie uit.
Geskilder.
Ja, as jy leer skilder dan leer jy moes nou in proporsie teken en as jy nie 'n model het wat die hele tyd stilhou, dan het jy vir sulke doeleindes kan jy by B&A 'n hand koop, 'n houthand.
O, dis nou 'n nuwe.
Ons het dit geweet nie.
Ai, jene, okay. Dis interessant. Okay. Dankie.
Ek hou baie van ou Biek se vlegseltjies daarso.
Ja, bykie.
Ja,
Dit voeg geloofwaardigheid by dat dit alles reg is. Hy kon inderdaad een gewees het.
Absoluut.
Okay, ons het twee foto's wat elkeen 13 het. Die res is maar 12 en 11's. Dat ek nou net Oh. Okay, dus die twee foto's, wat ek gaan doen is, ons noem daai foto nommer 1 en daai foto nommer 2, so julle moet vir my een van daai twee kies. Ek gaan nou vir julle die
Die
dingetjies
paneel was
stuur.
daar op my kant, maar toe ek hom wil wegdruk, toe verdwyn hy. Okay, hier is hy weer.
Is die blond foto 1,
2,
2?
ja. So dis nommer 2 en dis nommer 1. So julle kan sien, daar 6 stemme van nommer 1 en 2 van nommer 2. So Wiek die Viking is dan die beste oop selfoon foto vir die aand. Okay, vir die tema is daar 4. Ons noem hierdie nommer 1. Sy titel is Hande. Slapende skoonheid, nommer 2. Naald en garing is nommer 3. Missing support is nommer 4. Wat gaan nou hier aan?
Jy is op mute, liefie.
Okay, so
Sê vir my net gou, mag die outeurs van die fotos nou stem?
ek sal nie so dink nie.
Ek dink nie so nie, want dan stem hulle self uit. Okay. Hulle kan nie vir hulle self 'n punt gee.
Dis reg, ja.
Okay, so
Okay.
mense wat die outeurs kan nie stem nie.
As jy voel jy wil nie vir hulle okay, jy gaan nie daarin gaan nie. Okay.
Jy mag net maar stem hoor, al was jy nou nie hier nie.
Ja, jy mag stem, maar net nie vir jou eie foto. Okay, dis nommer 1, Hande. Slapende skoonheid is nommer 2. Naald en garing is nommer 3. Missing support is nommer 4. Okay, ons het, daar's 10 lede, 7 het gestem, 8 het gestem, 9 het gestem, en dan 1, okay, sy eie foto. So nommer 3. Naald en garing.
Ja, daar is hy. Mooi.
Wow, volgende keer
Mooi,
bring
Tina.
ek my naaldwerk daarna jou toe, Tina.
Ja, wel dan.
Jy was nou nie hierso nie, maar dit is 'n selffoto, hoor. Hy het die selfoon timer gesit en dan die foto self geneem deur Tino.
Dis baie oulik. Nee, dis goed om te weet ons het 'n naaldwerker in die groep.
Baie goed.
Ek gaan net so vinnig deur die foto's gaan. vir die mense wat nou eers ingesluit het. Daar's Nick die Viking, Vic die Viking. Daar's Karen se blommetjies. Son onder oor die kanaal. Judy, let almal op die selfoonfoto's, hoor. Julle kan maar die data gaan kyk. Under the M1,
Baie mooi.
Sampioene, Blou, Kew Gardens,
Ja, ons is daar kom blou nou.
is ek te vinnig, jammer.
Ja. Daar's blou nou.
Kew Gardens, laat my weet as jy hom het, Nick.
Ja, is deur.
Frozen van Michael,
Hy's deur.
Is Frozen nommer 3.
Nee, ons stem nie nou nie. Hy
O.
gaan net deur al die foto's.
O,
Ja, want wel.
okay, daar's
Ja, blue te goud is deur.
Beerdkrag,
Ja,
Worcester,
nog nie. Daar kom Woester nou.
3 van Pink,
Ja, hy's op.
Sparkle en Glow,
Hy's op.
Geel,
Ja,
One Night Stand,
ja,
Hotel Swimming Pool,
ja,
Spider for Dinner,
ja,
en dan het ons tema, Judy, is Hande, van Pieter,
ja, hy's deur.
Slapende Skoonheid,
Ja,
ja, soos Karen sê, kyk die data wat jy daar kry, en ek sien, dis my pyltjie wat verander in 'n potlood. Wonder
hy
hoekom.
wys 'n pyltjie by my.
O, daar's Nalt en Garing, Patiently Waiting. Sê ek te vinnig, jammer. Alone Now,
Saks is heel wat. Ja,
Namaste,
ja, hy's deur. Ja, hy's deur.
Mooi Hande,
Hy's deur.
en dan Missing Support. Dit was die laaste een.
Hy's deur.
Okay, so daar was dit.
Potty, het jy die beeldkrag gekry?
Ja,
Ja, hy by my ook, maar weet nie hoe lank my inverter gaan hou nie.
O, jette. Michael, is jy daarom alright?
Ja, ek is alright. Ek dink nie ek gaan krag verloor, nee.
Okay. Okay, oor na jou toe dan. Of daar enige vrae is voor jy oorgaan?
Ek moet net jou toegelaat word om skerm te deel. So. Kan julle sien?
Ja, ons kan.
Okay, so daar is nie, ek wil iets net vooruit sê, dat dit is nie in enige chronologische volgorde of na tema gesorteer. Ek het per hand 'n lysie hier geskryf van goed wat miskien interessant sal wees en het dit dan omgeskep in 'n iemand skakel verskriklik rond op die tafel en het die mikrofoon aangeskakel.
Kan julle asseblief net mute?
Okay, so dit is nie in 'n spesiale volgorde. Ek het net 'n lysie van goed gemaak wat ek dink kan nuttig wees. En het dit dan in 'n PowerPoint gesit wat dan agterna ook beskikbaar is. Ek hoop dit vind belangstelling. As jy verveeld is, moet jy maar sê stop. As jy iets nie verstaan nie, moet jy ook iets sê. So ek hoop op daai basis kan ons maar aangaan. En ja, dis 'n bietjie Photoshop tips en tricks wat nuttig te hande kan kom. Okay, is jy reg daarmee?
Go
Ja.
for it.
Ons is reg. Dankie, Michael.
Reg. So die eerste is content aware scale. Ek het 'n paar prentjies daaronder bygesit. Die een is 2:3 formaat, die ander een is 16:9. Dis kom nuttig te hande as jy drukwerk doen. So with the content aware scale, we can, for printing purposes, adjust the format of an image while areas in the image remain unstretched, undistorted. So just a second. I have to mute myself for a second. How do you do that? I gave a bit of a text description here, but I'm also going to demonstrate it in Photoshop. So either way you want to stretch it, either horizontal or vertical, you make a vertical or horizontal stripe of selection, which contains the object not to be stretched. In this case, it would have been the bird. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Okay. So now you activate, after you make your selection, then save the selection as something like don't stretch. Now you activate the content aware scale, and in the protect box, you select the previously stored don't stretch selection. And then now you can drag the edge of the image into the direction you want it stretched or squeezed. And then the image as a result will only stretch, without the protected art being affected. So a sample application is, as I said, if you want to convert a 16:9 landscape image onto a standard format, print format, which is 3:2. So now I'm switching over to Photoshop. I loaded it already and prepared it so we can see what it does. So here, did the screen switch over to the Photoshop?
Yeah.
Okay, so here you can see the original image. So now, if you want to stretch that as it is, you would stretch the bird as well. That's not what we want. We want to stretch the image, but not the bird. So, because by my hide meeting controls, escape. Oh, edit. Okay. So instead, we are saying now, I'm making a selection now with the rectangle tool and getting as close to the bird as possible. And I store it as a selection. Go to select, save selection, and I'm just saying, don't stretch. You can use any name you want. Okay, then I can actually deselect it. I stored it. Now I'm going to my transformation and I say content aware scale. Now, at the top, there's an area that says protect. So I'm going to select don't stretch. Why do I have two? I select two, don't stretch. And now I take the edge of the image and stretch it along. And you can see the bird is not stretching, but the rest of the image is stretching. Done. That's it.
Amazing, Michael. Ek wil nog altyd geweet het hoe om dit te doen.
Okay, cool. Next.
Daai foto wat ons dan nou na gekyk het, die Kew Gardens.
Die wat?
Kew Gardens.
Ja.
Nou, nee, hy het 'n baie lang spasie gehad waar die pool nou in was en dan het hy soos 'n bak blomme op die een kant gehad en dan 'n water feature op die ander kant.
Ja.
Dit 'n bietjie, ek kan sê dooie spasie tussenin. So kan mens daai goed nader aan mekaar bring, dat hulle nie so ver is van mekaar af.
I'm sure we can.
As voorbeeld nou die vis, as jy nou die voeltjie nou in sy blokkie sit en jy ja, ek weet nie. Verstaan jy wat ek vra?
Ek dink jy kan dit doen. Ek dink eerder dit moet jy dan in 2 stappies doen.
Ja. Okay. Dis interessant.
Michael, as jy
Ja.
nou hierdie ding klaar gestretch het, syf jy nou hierdie foto as 'n ander foto, hoe maak jy nou om hierdie ding nou te hou?
Oh, wel. So wat ek gedoen het, ek kan dit jy hou die gerekte foto, ek het al klaar die gerekte foto voorberei. En as jy dan die gerekte foto het, dan save jy hom net. As jy maar 'n PSD save, dan het jy nog die onderste een, die oorspronklike, en plus bo het jy dan die gerekte een.
Okay, nou wat gebeur aan die agtergrond in Photoshop en daai ding wat jy gemaak het te sê don't stretch? Verdwyn hy? Wat word van hom?
Die don't stretch is net it is just a selection to tell Photoshop when you do the content aware stretch which parts not to stretch. Hy bly bestaan. So as ek hom nou weer, ek kan hom nou weer laai as ek nou na select toe gaan en ek sê load selection en ek sê don't stretch.
Oh ja. Okay.
Dan kan ek hom weer haal.
Okay. Ja, goed, dankie.
Michael?
Nog kan
Ja.
ek iets vra?
Ja.
Michael, in plaas van hom stretch, kyk of jy hom kan shrink, kyk of die voeltjie sal maarder word.
Die voeltjie gaan nie maarder word, ek sal dit vir jou wys.
Ek dink dit is wat Nick wil probeer vra.
Kyk, as ek nou sê, okay, ons het klaar die selection stretch, so ek kan nie weer die stretch doen nie, nie die selection doen nie, maar wat ek nou kan doen is, ek kan sê, edit, content aware scale, and I don't want to stretch or squeeze die bird. En dan vat ek my ding en ek maak hom net kleiner. Sien jy, daar gebeur niks met die voel. Niks.
Begin daai boom in. Ja.
Dit werk in al twee rigtings.
Is nie nou, dis wat ek van praat is, hy druk nou daai takkie na die ander ene toe, which is wat
hy doen dit gelykmatig van die snavel tot hier met al die pixels. Dis hoekom jy dit nie sien.
Ja.
Nee, dis werk.
Ek wil net weet, om hierdie aksie te beoefen in 'n salon, word dit toegelaat?
Anne had 3 beautiful girlfriends, but didn't know which one to marry. As a test,
it says it is. Het iemand de radio aan?
Dit klink my so.
Anyway, ek dink jy mag dit nie doen nie, maar as jy na die heers kyk, Jy mag niks uithaal en niks byvoeg nie. So ek is nie 100% seker nie.
Ek dink Karen,
Ja,
waar jy mag manipuleer, sal dit toelaatbaar wees, maar waar jy nie mag manipuleer nie, gaan dit nie toelaatbaar wees nie.
okay, dankie.
Ek vermoed ook so, ja.
Okay, dankie.
So ek moet dus by die volgende uitkom. Ek gaan hom save nie. Terug, Photoshop, next. Ek dink die volgende een, ek het hom al gewys. But this time I put it together because you can have 4 different methods to do that. And each one is a bit different. There are dirty tricks, and there are slow way to do it. And there's a very nifty one, which is the last one. So the first one is the spot healing brush. It is cumbersome because if you don't keep your brush really over the wire, you're gonna struggle. And if you go with the mouse over a second time, the blue in the sky is a very difficult blue. You will see it. The next one is still use the spot healing brush, but you use it with shift to achieve lines. So what would happen is with the spot healing brush, you click on the first part of the wire, hold the shift key pressed, click on the end part of the wire, and then Photoshop will take it as one line and try to remove it. It's still not perfect. It's quick and dirty. If you really want to get rid of the wire, you have to use content-aware fill with shift. We can call it with Shift F5, which is the easy, quick content-aware fill. And then you get, with step number 4, the advanced content-aware fill by selecting content-aware from the edit menu, which then gives you options, what you see here in the screen selections and further down here on the right-hand side, which I will explain just now. So that was just a slide, and now we're gonna have a look at the Photoshop version of it. So let's switch it off. I did all these steps already. So here we have the original. So you could use the normal spot removal tool and try to get this out by hand. And it looks pretty dirty. I'm going to zoom in now. You can still see it. Okay. So I'm going to revert back to the original. The next one would be using the shift key, picking on both ends to get rid of the line. So the first one, without pressing the shift key, I put here, and then I hold the shift key pressed and press at the end of the line. Photoshop makes a line out of it, tries to remove it, but it's still not accurate. As I said, it's quick and dirty. Can you see it? Still there.
Yes.
A little.
Yes.
Okay, go back. Yeah. The next one would be a real content-aware fill that you can call up with Shift F5. First, I'm going to make a selection with the polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to move a bit in here. You can see it better. The first piece of line is already gone. I'm not going to correct that, just for illustration. So I'm trying to go as close as possible to the pillar and to my power lines. Make a polygonal selection. Close the polygon by double-clicking. Then close it by itself. And then I hit Shift F5, which brings up the content-aware fill. And it's content-aware. Sorry. does that sometimes. My OK button is gone, but it's just screen scaling. So I hit OK, and it removes it. Almost spotless. There is still a little piece left. Can you see that?
Yep.
So now we're using edit, redo. Okay, now we're using the last method of the 4, where we call the real the warrior code, the real deal. So we are going to mark the area again. Double click to close it, and now we go edit and we say content aware fill, which brings you a whole lot of option. The green area you see is the area that Photoshop will try to sample out the power lines. So if you don't want additional wires in there, you can actually tell Photoshop, I don't want this area be used for sampling at all. Or if you feel there is an area that Photoshop should use to sample and make the blue sky blue again, then you can, even by holding the Alt key, and you get then a plus, and you can add to it. Minus removes it, holding the Alt key adds it back to it. So we obviously don't want pieces of pylon in the sky, so we remove it, and we don't want power lines in the sky, so we remove it. And now Photoshop has only blue left and a couple of clouds to sample from. And then we can say where we want it. Output to the existing layer, current layer, or on a duplicate layer. I'm going to use a new layer. And you also can tell, should you have done this process before with other areas of the images, and you already have stacked layers, you want to make sure that all the layers are sampled. I'm not going to tick that because I don't have that situation. So all I'm saying is, here for visibility purposes, you can still control the opacity to which the sampled area is visible to you, but this is just your tool. So we say, okay, we remove our selection, and if we zoom in now, we shouldn't see any remains of any lines. Remember, this is a cell phone photo, so don't worry about the artifacts. So Photoshop has done a pretty good job. Okay.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, for sure.
I'm not so sure if it's possible to move the whole pylon out in all the wires. I don't think that it will be asked a little bit too much, but we can try it out. Okay. So now we're sitting on the new layer and we're not sampling all the layers. Now it gives us that. Now I have to add all the layers. So you see, it's replacing here a little bit of sky with pylon. So we have to remove the pylon clearly from our sampling area. Now the pylon is gone out of the sample, but we have additional wires. So we don't want to sample wires either. Let's see what it does. And this is how you fine control the whole thing. But now we see dark sky and bright sky gets sort of mixed and misadapted. So the bigger area is a bit problematic. Maybe we can mount a cloud in. See what it does now. No, it doesn't get better. So the bigger the area gets, the more difficult it becomes, although this content-aware fill is completely AI, artificial intelligence, so it learns. Okay, I'm not going to apply that. Close. Next. Go back to our PowerPoint. So what's next? That is a technique I looked up at other photographers, including Elsa's images of flowers in the backgrounds. And what the concept is, you create a blurred background from the very same image that you want to separate important and non-important parts to make them stand out more, while you're keeping the original color scheme. So the original images comes in a certain color scheme, in a certain color range. So if you blur that and use it as a background, and you superimpose the original image with a mask on top of your blurred background, then it looks as if it is from one cast, because we're using the blurred image as a background. All right. You got to work very, very, very accurate with the masks, obviously, but I'm just trying to put out the concept and as such as a tip. So let's go back to Photoshop. I prepared it. Blurred background, there it is. So I'm gonna be quick. So by holding the Alt key pressed, I'm only selecting the layer I want in one go. I don't have to switch all these layers one by one. So here I created the blurred background from the original image already. So this image was copied and then created as a blurred layer at the bottom, for the bottom. And yeah, I added some light and darkness corrections on it. I think it's a curve. No, it's a clean piece of plastic with painted with black on it, and the mixture set to soft light. Then I put the original image on top of it, and now we need to mask it, which I already did. So I masked that area out. Can you see that? So we just have to activate that mask. And then it's blurred out, and your main subjects stand out nicely. And the rest is just use saturation adaptation to make the hands more look natural. Here I had a yellow reflection from the right-hand side because my wife's arm was hit by the sun in full. So I had to take this off and then take the brightness, the overall brightness down to bring the texture of the hand back. The rest is just a color layer fill from the right-hand side using yellow, orange, and another color layer fill mixed with soft light. So we're not creating color, we're creating actually a soft blue light coming in from the left. And the central one, I gave it a bit of a touch of a red one. And color fill, I don't know what I did here. Oh, there were some spots on the hands and stuff that I lightened up a bit. That's all. That's the end result. So the basic concept is to use the same image you use to show your object, but you use the same image to create also the blurred background in order to make your subject stand out nicely. Okay, that's about it. Any questions?
Very nice idea. Michael, when you do your cutting out, do you shift the edge in 1% or so?
Do I do what?
When you do your cutting out,
yeah,
do you shift the edge in a little bit so that because I saw most of the photos and many of my photos also, there's a little bit of the background sticking out behind the object that I wanted to cut.
Yeah, to refine. You're talking about refining the edges of your mask.
Yeah.
You do the refining of the edge in your mask. You can actually do in three different steps, and each one of them being more finer than the first one. So done in 3 steps. I don't know if I can delete it and try and do it, but it's not going to be quick. So
No, it's okay.
basically what I do, I show you, okay? So basically what I do, I go on a quick selection tool and then select, let Photoshop select a subject. Which is pretty accurate. You can see that.
Yeah.
So then obviously Photoshop forgot the arm and Photoshop forgot to remove a little bit from here. So I'm cutting it back using the quick selection tool, and by pressing minus and plus, I'm adding or removing. Can you see that? So here I want to add a little bit more. And as a basic principle, rather choose too much than too little, because the refinement methods concentrate on cutting the edge further in.
Mm-hmm.
That was too much. Doesn't allow me. There's one. Okay, we have the whole arm here. Okay, I have to use minus to get rid of the bottom again, which did quite well. Okay, so this is your basically your basic mask. Okay, so I'm going to remove the original mask and I'm adding one. So that is the mask I just added, that I just created. You can see it's cut off here. So now you start painting with white on it to get it back in, and you use a brush that's not too hard. By the way, changing your brush size, it comes as a tips and tricks later on one of my lists. You can use the edge bracket to make it smaller while you're painting, and the closed edge bracket to make it bigger. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It jumps in steps. And if you hold shift pressed, you can actually shift and the edge brackets, you can make your mask softer or harder. So the opening bracket makes it softer, the closing bracket makes it harder. Okay, so I'm using a middle hard brush. You can also check it out, so I increased it a bit. And then you paint that other stuff that's missing, you paint it back in. There's some that's missing. That one you don't want, it did select it somehow. So you remove it again, adding a little bit. Okay, so now you can actually click in your mask, control click the mask, it selects everything that's there. And then you go into your select a mask tool. I'm not doing the whole spiel. This is pretty accurate already. Here we need some stuff. So radius is 2. This 20, that's 2. Isn't 2. Okay, so and then you just pay along here, and it should actually pretty much take it away.
Jy nou, jy gaan hierdie vir ons stuur, né?
Yeah, so you walk along these edges and you refine them step by step.
You've got your shift edge on minus 18%. That's quite a lot, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, okay, I'm not going to do all of it, so I'm going to do it like that. Output settings, layer mask. Okay, so it just stays there. Now, the last trick you can do about these fine lines here You can see those little black. Can you see them? Okay.
Yeah.
What you can do, you can use burn and dodge on a mask. Did you know that?
Burn and dodge on a mask.
Yeah. So burn makes things darker, and dodge makes it brighter. So I'm going to use a very, very little brush, and the exposure, put it a bit up. I'm not sure if I'm successful. I'm zooming a bit more. So this is now, the white is now masked. So
Wouldn't defringe work on this?
no, defringe is color. This is dark. Where are we now? We are on the burn tool, makes it darker. You see what happens on the white lines?
Yeah, yeah.
It goes darker, so you can remove that fringing. So this is your last refinement step when you really, really want to fine work it. You see that?
Yeah. Because you're 500% enlarged here, so
Yeah.
so it's very
Yeah, but just to show you, now I'm 200% enlarged. You can see that this edge already looks better than the rest down here.
much better.
Okay,
Cool.
Yes.
it's just time consuming. Any more questions?
Ja, dank je.
Reg, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, now comes a list of various tips. The first one I already explained while I was increasing my brush bigger and smaller in steps while holding the shift key at the same time. It changes the hardness of the brush.
Weet jy wat jy...
Come again?
What is this, the sign you've worked here? That's the ampersand sign. It's
Ampersand?
Yeah.
No, I just use it as an end
For
sign.
Windows.
Huh?
Is that, I'm sorry, is that for Apple?
No, the ampersand. I could have written the word end. I was just too lazy.
Oh, okay.
I use it as an end. Okay. Yeah, for interactive zooming, hold the control and the space key and then drag right to zoom in or left to zoom out. And the nice thing is to zoom targets where your mouse icon is. So in other words, if you do that in the upper top right in the corner, then holding control space will even zoom more into top right. That's just a short demonstration. So if I'm here now with my cursor and I control space and I move to the right, I will even move further in the top right corner. And if I move left the mouse, I move out. If I do this on the lower corner, control space. If I move right, I go deeper into the top left corner where my mouse was. And if I move out, I go out. It's just an easier way of zooming instead of pressing control plus, which increases it, from the center. So with the control space, you got control over your zoom in terms of enlargement plus precision. So control space in the upper middle. I move it left, right. I zoom more in the upper middle or wherever my mouse cursor is. Move into the hand. Move into the hand. Okay, quick. Next. The key D resets the foreground and the background colors of a brush to black and white, if you need that. And X toggles to form the background color. Quick demonstration. So as a foreground color, I'm choosing now an odd red. For the background color, I'm choosing, sorry, let's choose a blue, somewhere there. And now if I want to, I was on a mask. Mask can only accept gray. Blue. Why is it not doing it? It's just color picker. It doesn't want to do it. Foreground color. Okay, background color. Something yellowish. Why not? This is weird. Background color. Okay. Okay, so we have now the greenish background color, bluish foreground color. If I press X, it toggles them forth and back. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And then if I press D, it resets it to black and white. If you go to masks. Because what often happens, we might have a different forth and background color, but if we go into a mask, that stuff changes to all sorts of gray, and then we wonder why the mask is not fully responding when we paint on it. Just a little trick. Okay, next one. You can view your layer masks in black and white using the Alt key while clicking on the mask to see what is actually masked. So in this case, we masked the foreground subjects here, and but we don't know how far our mask is reaching. So I'm holding the Alt key pressed and click on the mask. Then I really see what is masked. If I click on it again with Alt, it brings it back to normal. Again. Cool. Okay. So if I want to see what's masked here, I click on the other mask and it will show me what I masked out here. And you can see it's not full opacity. There is a softness around it. All right. Next. Yeah, I showed you that already. You use the Control-Click shortcut on any layer or thumbnail or mask, thumbnail, channel or path to load its shape or contents as a selection. So if I want to select everything that's on here, I just press Control-Click. And it selects everything that's in that mask. Remove it, go here, it selects my mask. Do we have so there's no mask. If I click here, I should get marked everything. So you can see that was one click with a round brush and using a bit of a red light that I brought into the center here. Okay, next. Any questions? I think it's pretty straightforward. Another one. So when you're painting with a burn tool, while you're on burning mode and you hold down the Alt key, you switch instantly to dodge tool. So you can conveniently, by holding the Alt key or not holding the Alt key, while you're painting, you can switch between dodge and burn tool. Let's see if that works. Obviously only here on the masked elements. So we are now on the burn tool. Burn makes things darker, we can see that. And I hold the Alt key and I'm in. So you didn't see me go over here changing to dodge.
Yeah.
So I leave it burning. I hold the Alt key pressed, dodging. So you don't have to go constantly switching between dodging and burning. You can do that using your key.
That's
okay. Right. Next. Come again?
I said that's handy, and then I said, excuse the pun.
Yeah, handy. The next one might already be known to some of you. To create a merged copy on top of all the other layers if you need a new base to work from. So you press Control, Shift, Alt, and E. What it does, it creates a copy, a consolidated copy of everything that you've done so far. And Control, Alt, Shift, E. And then you can see on top appears another layer that is a consolidated version of all your other layers at the bottom. So I could quickly switch the others off easily. The picture will not change. Okay.
It's clever.
So and switching the others back on. So switching on a certain layer is another nifty trick. If I only want to see my blue light on this image, I hold the Alt key pressed and click that layer, and it shows me only that, but it's a very weak blue here, so you don't see much. And to switch all layers on very quick, you hold the Shift key first, then you click on the eye, and then you move your mouse simply down while you hold the Shift key in, and then all the layers get switched on again. Again, switching them all off. Now I want to switch all of them on. I hold the Shift key pressed, then I start pressing, and I simply move the mouse down, and they're all on again. Okay. Next. It's helpful when you have an image with lots of layers. That's an interesting one. Sometimes we're using, or often we use Camera Raw, and we make a lot of adjustments, and we reach a point where we say, I don't know what I've done here. I must actually reset all my sliders. Especially when we open the image a second time, and the first time we open it, we actually didn't open the image in Photoshop, but the XML file with all our slider settings in Camera Raw has been stored on our hard drive. And next time you open that image, it comes up with the same nonsense settings again. And to reset these sliders, you just double click any slider on the Camera Raw to reset it to a default value. Now, if I have to do that to demonstrate, I would need to load a raw image. You think I can skip that because it takes a little while?
Yeah.
So any slider in the raw in the Camera Raw, you just double click it so it goes back to its default value. Last one, Control Alt Z lets you undo more than one history state. Well, the amount of history states that you configured in your preferences lets you go back. Control Z. So if you configure, you can go 10 steps back. You cannot go further back than that by pressing Control Z. But if you press Control Alt Z, it lets you go further than that. Okay.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Now, I didn't know that either. I did a little bit of web research about tips and tricks. Okay. Then another conceptual trick. So that is called the center light, center dark thing. So basically, with the center light or center dark, we can accentuate and model our subjects so they stand out more or at depth and dimension. So left, you see the original image or the original processed image. And on the right-hand side, you see the image that has been processed with those two things. So what you do, you add two curve adjustment layers, each with a quarter adjustment brighter from the middle up here, and the other one a quarter darker. A quarter because 1, 2, 3, 4. Then darken the areas that need less attention, and you brighten the areas to stand out a bit. So in this case, let's go over to the Photoshop part. I think we're done with that one. Don't want to save it, no. File, open recent, simple like doc. So here we have the original image, and a lot of green from the background still looks through, and it's quite macaw, and your eye might jump around. So what I did, I added a curve layer, adjustment layer, curve adjustment layer, and brought it down by a quarter. And then I added another curve adjustment layer, and I brought it up by a quarter. So then I started accentuating the flowers, or let's just delete the layer mask and add a layer mask and invert it. So let's switch it on. So what I did, I used the brush, and I used a very soft one, and with 100% opacity, because we can adjust it later. And all I do, I click inside the flowers to bring them out a little bit more. Can you see that? And for the background, I didn't bother too much. I simply pulled down the whole background and then adjusted the opacity to 38%. That's it, done. So before, after. So that concept is called center light, center dark, and here it is. 2 simple layers, and then you can do it. You can also use that to bring like a whole face more to the fore. It's not limited to flowers. I just use it as an example. Okay.
Wonderful.
Any questions?
No, I've learned a hell of a lot. The biggest thing I have to do now is practice.
Thank you. Okay, the last one, I kept the best for last, but I'm not going to show you all of it. I'm just showing you the concept, pixel stretch. So those circles that you see here are created with pixel stretch. And it's done by using either one line, one column, or one row selection with the selection tool, and to mark an area that represents the pixels to be stretched. Then you copy that one pixel line and paste it onto a new layer. Then you stretch the pixels out with a transforming tool to the full extent of either height or width of the image. Then you make that the active layer and switch the others off. And then you go to select filter, distort polar coordinates. It probably will come up with an ellipse, so you can adjust the result back into a circle with the stretching transformation tool. Then you place the stretched pixel layer underneath the original image, and you apply a mask to the original image, in that case, to make the dancers or that one person standing out again. And then you have to obviously add convincing shadows on the side so your picture looks real and not glued in. Okay, so I'm concentrating on the part of how we create these stretched pixel circles. Okay. Don't need that one.
Thank you.
File, open. And I'm not doing it on those 2 ladies. I'm doing it with those leaves here because they have a nice color distinction from top to bottom, dark greens, browns, light greens, and so forth. It's the principle that counts. If you have time, I open one of the dancer images afterwards. This is just for the principle explanation. So at the bottom here are 3 points, and behind that is hidden the single column selection tool. So there's two of them, the single row marquee tool and the single column marquee tool. Single row would mark a horizontal set of pixels from left to right. Or what we want to do, I want to use the single column. First I have to remove that, and then I select a single column tool. So you don't see it now, you just see running ants, but in fact it has selected one column of pixels. So we're going to go there and say we copy merged, because there's another adjustment layer on top of it, but I want that row of pixels copied as it appears here. Then I click on the top layer and I say Control V. Now we have one line of pixels which you don't see, so we switch the others off. Okay, so what you see here is one line of pixels. All we have to do is we have to stretch it out. I'm not sure what I copied here, but it's not what I expect. No, it worked. So what I did, I stretched out one column of pixels over the whole width of the image, representing the color that were actually in the image. You can see that. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So all I have to do now, I make this the active layer, switch the others off. I go to filter, I go to distort, I go to polar coordinates. And you can either transform rectangular to polar or polar to rectangular. Don't ask me what it means.
What? It's just wrong with you.
No, I pushed up the zoom accidentally. Okay, so that is the result from polar to rectangular, but actually I want to have the circle. So, and because of the image is it's the full frame of the image, it doesn't appear as a circle, it appears as an ellipsoid. So we're going to do that. And then later you then can stretch it back to a circle if you want to, or you leave it as it is, and then you place it underneath your other layer, switch your layer on, and now you would have to put a mask on that layer to make it appear correctly. I'm not going to do this. I'm using a function, blending options, which is I'm using blending options, and I say I can't get it bigger. Why not? This is stupid. I'm doing it on my other side. Sorry that you can't see it. You select then blend if, and I select green. So now I'm taking visibility from the underlying layer away, which should bring my other stuff through. Okay. There are your leaves. But it was just a quick blending mode because I was too lazy to draw a mouse now. All right. That's the whole principle about that one. Must I do it again?
From the beginning, yes, please.
Okay, cool. Delete.
Very good.
Delete. We're not blending that one. Let me just take the blend back. Let's close it and reopen it. I didn't save it. Easier. File, reasons. Okay, let's start again. So first of all, I need either a column or a row pixel selection. We go down there. If it doesn't appear, right click on it, you select a single column marquee tool. Then you place your line. It doesn't need to be in the image. It's already vertically selecting. Then you place it where you want it. Okay. So that's our selection now. Now I'm going to go edit, copy merged. Important because there's another layer on top of it. If I don't do copy merged, I copy the pixels slightly brighter. I don't want that. So that's why I say I want to copy merged. Then I paste what I just copied onto a new layer. Control V. It does it automatically. So let's call it pixel column. Okay. Right, we switch all the other layers off, only leave our pixel column switched on. You can see there's a thin line, almost invisible. Now I'm going to go to my transformation tool, my move tool, and then I start stretching it out to the edge of the image. 1, 2, and then we apply OK. That's it. We leave that layer active. We go to filter. We go to distort. We go to polar coordinates. And we press OK. We can adjust it back to a circle if you want to or not. Whatever suits, floats your boat. And I'm going to switch back to the other image that I have on the PowerPoint presentation. And you can see these circles here and that circle there. So what I did there is simply I used the distortion tool to make that circle as if it was on the floor. So you just go there, edit, transform, perspective, and you add a bit of a perspective, and then you say distort, and you make it even worse. You see how that lies flat now. That's it. And I could use a copy of that same layer and place it behind the other one to make it look like that. And that's exactly what I did. So let's open the other one. Pixel stretch 1. It's not opening. Edit, paste, open, pixel stretch 1. Right. So I started with a blurred background as I demonstrated in the other images with the hands. This one is all background related. So first I added the lower circle. It's actually the same circle, it's just stretched and distorted in a different way. It's the shadow of her. So without the shadow, you can see it looks plugged in, like glued in. Come again?
How did you make the shadow?
How to make the shadow? Okay. You go onto your element. You control click on the mask. It selects all your pixels there, right? Now you add a new layer, and on that new layer you fill it with black. Fill. So everything that's marked now will be filled with black, because black is my foreground color. I'm choosing foreground color, and I hit enter, and then it makes it black. So now we need to move that black underneath. All right.
Right.
Deselecting. Now I'm selecting my black layer. Now I'm using the move tool and
My God.
move it out. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So done. Okay, and now I can do that and say now I want to I have a mask here, so I'm adding a mask to that layer. My element is still marked, so I'm adding a mask to it. And now the trick is you click on that mask, go to the properties of the mask, and you feather the mask. You see what happens?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's feathering the mask. And you still have the ability to do the final touch-up by saying, I want that opacity, I want to adjust the opacity of my shadow. There you go, done.
Sure.
A quick, it needs refinement, but that's the principle how you go about it.
Okay.
So that was my layer. I'm going to switch that off, and I switch the original one back on. That's it. Any other questions?
Dis baie moeilik, Michael. Regtig. Maar dis
Come
baie
again?
pragtig.
Come again?
Nee, ek sê dit is baie moeilik, maar dis baie pragtig.
It's not. That's why I tried not to dive too much into all those layers. I wanted to show you the principle, and the principle is pretty simple. It's basically contains out of what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. Place it underneath the original image. That's about it. And the shadows, whatever you see here underneath it, or at her here on the side, was not part of this tip that you have to add yourself. But the steps to make that pixel stretch are not that complicated. Okay. And that's my story, folks. That's all.
Sure. Thank you, Michael. Jo.
Michael,
Dankie,
baie
Michael.
dankie.
Ja.
Dankie, Michael.
Kom
Alright.
jy hierdie goed aanstuur?
Baie dankie.
Ek sal miskien